Okay, what's going on, guys? We got another tactics review for you today. We're going to show you the gameplay in a second. We're first going to go through the tactics. I'm going to show you the gameplay as I normally do. And then at the end, I'm going to give you my opinion, what you should change for you, the average player. Now, this is LEVI's 4-5-1, Team Hullet LEVI's. Now, he's gone with a 4-5-1. He probably has this in combination with other formations in his mix. He doesn't just have one formation. He's not just using this. He probably has like a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-1-3, some of the best formations. Strikers on advanced forward attack. Centre mid is on holding defense. So I put Militao there, defending player. I put Zidane as the playmaker plus roaming on the right hand side. Interesting. I'll explain something later on in the game. Tonali is on playmaker attack. And then Ranieri and both Filigino are inside forward, left mid, right mids. Inside forward is the best playmaker role, but you can see when you're attacking, it's basically somewhat of a 4-3-3. And with the left mid and right mid, they go forward as wingers. And then you have both the fullbacks on balanced and then the goalkeeper like so. Now, he's got short passing. Very interesting as well, which we'll go over in a second. And the depth, it says 50. I'm not too sure what exactly it is, but it could be anywhere between 50 to 70, maybe even 75. But just for good measure, I'm going to presume he's playing some sort of pressure. So I'm going to put 65. Whether you put 65 or 70, the average person, there's no chance. Even if someone knows what they're doing, there's no chance to even know what the difference between 65 and 70 is, unless it goes past those checkpoints. So let's go into the gameplay example right now.
You want to get better at FC25 now? Before you skip ahead, what if I told you if you don't get better after 1 month, I'll refund your money? That's a nil guys guarantee. We got in-depth tutorials that are not even on the YouTube channel. We show you the theory of something and we show you gameplay examples in a structured format. We also go over real-life football examples that apply to the game and exclusive pro gameplay analysis, full gameplay analysis to elevate your game. We teach you everything from the basics to the meta. Come join at patreon.com/nilguys. Links down below in the description. If you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. That's the Nil Guys guarantee. Links down below in the description.
Okay, now let's go into the game. Now, remember I said to you that the playmaker on the right-hand side, Zidane, I put him as a plus. He's on roaming. So have a look at Zidane for a second, right? So look, if I run with my right centre back there, you see how Zidane occupies that position on the side. And if I, for example, run over there, you see how Zidane is now moving to the right-hand side and gone to a right back role. Now, this is what's very, very important. Roaming can be very useful, but sometimes you can see, like, do you want Zidane on this right-hand side? So when you use roaming on a centre mid, I like to think of a player that's roaming is they do one of two things. They either occupy positions where you've moved a play out of position, or sometimes they like have a look at where Tonali is based, right? And you can see when the ball gets here, look at Tonali kind of holds that position of playmaker, then he goes through. Whereas if I do the same thing with Zidane, sometimes he will go deep, and that is why I don't like that role. Whereas if you have someone who's got the role plus of, like, you know, a regular playmaker, you're pretty much good to go. Now, what's very interesting is that right-hand side is heavy. You got both the left back and right back on balanced, so they're going to provide support. Now, don't forget, the best thing is to be unpredictable. You can see that's the right back going forward in a good position. If you ever need your right back to go forward more, you can use the L1 trigger. So these are just a few of the important things. Now, you've got your centre mid, the main person, as is kind of like a CDM. So this player, as you can see, Militao is where I'm playing with the jockey playstyle pass and the ping pass. He's going to be the player that's going to be a defensive player. There's no CDM. So the biggest difficulty we'll have with this formation is, although you pack out the midfielders, there's no CDMs. So it can make it much more difficult. So just remember that when you are building up and playing. So for example, like here. But the benefit of having that player as a centre mid is they're quite involved in attack. You can see that as Zidane on roaming, and you can occupy that space. And that is one of the benefits of roaming. So as long as you know how to be patient and when to wait for the player to make the movement, that's when roaming can really, really help you. Now, of course, no matter what, you still need fast centre backs. The only one thing I want to say for the average player is, look, there's no CDM. So you see there's a lot of bringing back Eder Militao. See, I'm always dragging Militao back manually myself to push him back into position. A bit unlucky with the deflection. So that's one thing you got to bear in mind here. So when you are attacking or when you're defending, that's something to bear in mind. I've got Ranieri, you can see inside forwards. You got the one sole striker. Now, this is one big thing you're going to not like about this formation. It takes some time to set up when you're attacking. So obviously when you're a top tier player, you're not going to be rushing your attack. Look, of course, if the chance is there, you're going to maybe spam your ping pass or whatever you need to. But you can see, look, have a look at where this team, when they're attacking, when they're defending. Look, see, you got the midfielder 5. Look, it takes a bit of time to go forward. And that is what the top tier players do. They use L1 triggers. They're supplementing. See that? I'm making that right back run myself. You see? They're supplementing the players. And that's the people they use pro tactics like, you know what? Hey, no, I can't play like these pros can. They got these amazing movements. They're doing these amazing runs and stuff. Why is my players not doing it? Because then you're not a pro player. You have to remember. So you have to adjust these things for your play style. So that's going to be one thing you got to notice. So if you're the kind of player that doesn't play slow, you're not going to like it. Now, you see how short passing is influencing our build-up play? I'll try to defend the situation over here. So you see how slow build-up play. In the beginning, I've been barely doing any 1-2s and L1 triggers. You see how it's making you play much slower? Do you see that? So you go into a lot of L1 triggers. Now, the benefit of this is if you know how to use L1 triggers, you can create these manual overloads because players always come close and you create these. See these overloads like I'm doing like so? And this is where this formation can really prosper, creating like these overloads in these situations here to catch your opponent off guard. Bit of a heavy touch there. So that is something that you just got to bear in mind with this formation, is be careful with how slow this plays. That's why I'd probably say I'd probably move towards a balance system. I would still advise counter, but the reason why I advise balance is because, look, the players, they're just not moving at all. And unless you're doing a lot of L1 triggers and you're doing a lot of player locks, for example, like you're doing a lot of player locks like this is when the formation will really come alive. So you have to just bear all this in mind. This is all the things that I want to mention. So whenever people copy pro tactics, they always say, oh, this player's not moving here, this player's not moving there. And that's one of the few things you're going to notice. Now let's go through some highlights of this. One goal back. Just about that. The goalkeeper was going to save that there. Waiting for that. It's another goal back there. I think we might get another one here, actually. We might do. This player's fallen. And that's the attacking centre mids. Yeah, that's it. 3-2. That's the one, the benefits of having an aggressive attacking right back, left back, should I say. Bit of trickery. Nice play. And this is where the formation really comes to alive. You got the right timing. Oh, good defending. By the way, I don't normally do skill moves, but I'm actually recording a tutorial for my Patreon, so that's the reason why I did that skill move. Otherwise, you guys know me, I don't do skill moves, but a little Patreon exclusive. All right, so where do I rate this tactic? Now, look, the problem is, I think it's a very good tactic. This is what I would call a try-hard tactic, and I believe the better player you are, and the more slower you are, this tactic would be good for you. For the mass majority of you, I'm talking about the real mass majority of you, you will not like this tactic, and that's why I invite you to try it. But you have to play very, very slow, diligent. You got to think about what you're doing. A lot of player locks, and that is why I wouldn't recommend short passing. I would say ideally you want to be on counter, but if you want a good middle ground, I would say you can leave it unbalanced. The rest of the roles, I'm actually not against any of them. I think that actually is pretty good. You can use a playmaker roaming if you want to, if you like that. But the only thing I would say is change your build-up style. I don't know what the exact depth he runs is. But, you can always put this down to 45. You think this is a bit too high, you can always put this to like balance, something like that, if you think it's too high. But I've got nothing against the roles. I think the structure itself is a very good system. If you don't like roaming, you can take it off. But I would say that is actually a very good system. But you have to really play slow. And you know what? Try this. And you'll know what I'm talking about. Give it 2 or 3 games. Unless you're one of those few players that plays really slow and you're not just abusing going forward, you're going to find this tactic to be a bit of a struggle with the short passing. As I said, a pro player can play with anything. And the more slower you are, the more you're thinking and being very careful and try-harding, the better you'll play with this formation. But you got to play slow. All right, so where does it go in my tactics list? You know what? I want to make some movements, right? I think I'm going to put LEVI's 4-2-3-1 before above, and then I'm going to put Abu Makar's below. So I'll show you what I mean. Better for the average person than everyone else. But I think I've used LEVI's 4-2-3-1, a very similar system to LEVI's tactics in post-patch. So I personally feel like, look, this is like a very unique tactic. These are the changes that I'd recommend. It's a very unique tactic. You know, you really need to play slowly. And for the mass majority of you guys, you're not going to like it. I think when you're a top tier player and you know how to slow your gameplay down, use a lot of player locks, a lot of L1 triggers yourself manually, then I think the formation is good. I would say with my changes though, it makes the formation a lot more better. So I think a lot of you guys will really enjoy the changes that I made with this code over here. But for those of you that don't like, so if there's a few of you that like slow gameplay, you might actually really like this. But I think for the mass majority, let's say 70, 70, 80%, you're not going to like it with slow build-up play. So I'd recommend this. I think it's a good tactic, but I think you got to be a high-level player. Don't forget, remember this. Pros can use any tactics. They're going to be good at the game. Remember this, because you can play with a bronze team. If I can play with a gold team and I can play any tactic, I'm sure they can. So just remember that. But you're going to have to change your play style specifically for this tactic. So I would say it's a good one. I wouldn't recommend it. And I'm pretty sure LEVI doesn't use this all the time. He probably has a 4-2-1-3 and a 4-4-2 that maybe he changes to. So do bear that in mind. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. If you want to get a better FC, come to my Patreon, inspiration.com/no guides. Links down in the description. Don't get above the 1 month. It will refund your money. No guys guarantee. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.